Welcome to Ability Assistance. My name is Phyllis Jones, Chair of the North Andover Commission on Ability Assistance.
My name is Stacy Leibowitz, Secretary of the North Andover Commission on Ability Assistance.
This morning we're joined by Nick Savarese, Executive Director of the Doug Flutie Jr. Foundation for Autism, and Samantha Sanford, Star Ambassador of the Doug Flutie Jr. Foundation for Autism. Good morning, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
We're happy to have you.
Yes.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having us in your presence today.
Thank you, thank you. I'm not sure if either one of you are aware, but I actually was introduced to somebody at the Flutie Foundation a couple of years ago. The sheriff of the Essex County had some sort of a program, and you folks were there. So it's been a little while just to try to iron out the dates. So we're very excited to have you.
Very pleased.
Thank you.
Yeah, excited to be here.
Yeah, definitely.
One of the things I typically ask when we start out is, why did you get involved in the disability services? In this case, you're talking about you're working for people with autism. So Nick, why don't you go first?
Sure. So, I started out as a volunteer working for an adaptive recreation program many years ago, like I think the year 2000, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wow.
Something like that, 99, 2000, 2001.
You're dating yourself.
I know. Well, we discussed earlier,
Yes.
we're firm Gen X people. But I volunteered I did some volunteer work essentially and really enjoyed it and met great people like Samantha along the way. And, that led to a job teaching special education. And then ever since then, I've just kind of been in the field serving people with disabilities in various roles, and been at the Flutie Foundation for Autism as the executive director since I think 2018.
Oh wow, that's a while.
amazing.
So you also saw it straight through COVID, which
Yeah.
I'm sure was not an easy task.
COVID was very disruptive to the autism community, as you might imagine, for a myriad of different levels. But we had a great family of people at the Flutie Foundation. We have great friends and volunteers and donors. And like you all use technology, we use technology to kind of grow our family, and that's, I believe, where we met Samantha, if I'm not mistaken. We met through our Facebook Live show that we were doing and all that.
Now, Samantha, I'm sorry I cut you off. Now, you're a Star Ambassador, is that your proper title?
Yeah.
Okay, can you explain to us what that means?
It means that I am actually a member of the Flutie Foundation Spectrum of Sound, which is a choir of autism self-advocates, and I really like being part of that. It's really my favorite thing because singing is my passion. I would love it if one of these days the lead singer of Def Leppard, Joe Elliott, could hear me sing.
That's great.
Girls got a...
Yeah. You've got a goal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, not even just that, but
Which is very important.
as a Gen Xer,
That's it.
that's one of our people. That's one of our people.
Yeah, this is great. And I guess just to turn it back to you, Nick, what does the Doug Flutie Jr. Foundation for Autism do? What kind of services do you provide?
Yeah, so we've been around for 26 years now, founded by Doug and Lori
course.
Flutie. Doug Flutie was a famous football player back in the day when their son Dougie was diagnosed with autism. Dougie's now 31, I believe.
Wow.
But we've been around 26 years
flies.
now. We were really founded on the principle of helping families just sort of navigate the diagnosis and find services and that sort of thing. So we've tried to stay true to that over the years. So a couple things we do. We provide financial support to families who need help, to afford autism-related services, anything from swim lessons to iPads, to, whatever that looks like. It used to be a lot of therapy back in the day before insurance covered therapies. But, as you all probably know, having an autism diagnosis, it adds expenses to your life, right?
Yes, of
and
course.
so direct financial support to families, grants to organizations who help people with autism live each day to the fullest, And we have a lot of other programs that we do, including our Stars of the Spectrum program. Stands for Spectrum Talent, Agency, Resources, and Support. It's where we work with young adults with autism, help them grow towards their life and career goals. And so one component of that, we have a big music component of that, one of which is our Spectrum of Sound Choir, which Samantha's a part of, which is now about, we've been around about 4 years now. We actually launched during COVID. Again, as a way to bring people together virtually, and then it's just grown, and now we have a great crew.
Now, I know that you folks annually put on a concert that is actually focused for people and their families with autism, so it takes into effect things like sound and
Any sensory concerns.
Exactly. Samantha, do you perform at that concert at all?
Yes, actually, just a couple months ago, we had a performance in Quincy, and it was a very successful performance, if I do say so myself. We performed with Faith Evans, and it was really awesome. And then we had the thing last year at Fenway where we performed with Sean Stockman from Boyz II Men. It was really awesome.
Oh, that's amazing.
Really?
Uh-huh.
What a
That's
great
impressive.
opportunity.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned assisting with services. Obviously, it's called a spectrum for a reason.
Yeah.
There are people who are, they present as neurotypical, and there are people all the way who, are not are nonverbal and, everything in between. So you offer services for those on the spectrum. What do you offer in terms of maybe support groups for parents, things along that nature? Because as a parent of somebody who has a child on the spectrum, that's a big thing because a lot of parents feel isolated.
Yeah. So we work. We primarily partner with the autism support. Like here in Massachusetts, for example, we partner with the autism support centers, family support centers. There's I think there's 9.
Are you talking the ARC?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so within each ARC, there's an autism family support center, and we work closely with them to provide support, funding, all sorts of different services, so that because they're kind of the on-the-ground network that is really interacting with families directly. And so what we do for them is sort of provide infrastructure, financial support, as well as, like we'll do various campaigns, like around Christmas time, we'll do Christmas gifts for families in need, that sorts of thing. And, we're kind of a catch-all, like people call us all the time. We know every autism serving organization throughout New England, basically, because we kind of have this brand name, for lack of a better description.
As somebody who grew up in Framingham, Doug Flutie, he's,
Right.
Yeah.
not,
And then after
he's-
college, it's statewide, if not on some level national. I think
So-
he's just well known. And
Yeah.
And that's why him and his wife Lori started the foundation to begin with. It
Right.
was like
Name recognition,
Yeah, and
yeah.
it was when their son Dougie was young and they couldn't find services for him. They thought, and they had fame, they had fortune, for lack of a better description.
Yep, they had everything that they
Right.
They still struggled to find services, so they kind of thought, well, what about all these other families? And this was before there was a lot of awareness around autism,
Right.
26, 27, 28 years ago. So they really wanted to help other families who didn't know where to turn. And so that's always been, that's kind of why they started to begin with.
Right,
No,
makes sense.
it's fantastic that they did that because, like I said, a lot of people can feel isolated. They can feel embarrassed. You know,
Or they just don't have
Yeah.
they don't have the knowledge or understanding
of
for
what
how
that
to address
means. Exactly.
what's going on, because again, it is a spectrum, and sometimes that question or even a diagnosis may be elusive. And
Yeah.
so having the support once they figure it out, that they're not alone.
Yeah, and people still come up to Doug and Lori to this day and say thank you for sort of, they were, again, back in the day, it was like when they came out and said, we have a son with
Yep.
autism, that was a big
Right.
step back then, because people weren't, to your point,
Yeah.
parents were feeling isolated, or there just wasn't the level of acceptance that there is today. Not that today's perfect by any stretch either,
Right.
No, but it's more
But it's better.
acceptable
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
to talk about it, or it feels more acceptable to talk about it.
And just to kind of piggyback on that as well, because nobody is cookie cutter. and understanding autism, but also some of the coexisting conditions. Are there ways that you support families, either financially or with your work with the ARC, around those pieces? Because a child may have autism, but some other contributing illnesses or mental health concerns, are those things that come up?
Yeah, they always come up. And like we have a big grants program where organizations who are direct service providers on the ground are applying for grants. And so in any given year, we'll have kind of different focus areas. It's always around, navigating today, living today to the fullest. So we don't really do research. We don't do a lot of like political advocacy or anything like that. It's like, it's work, it's school.
You're right on the ground.
Yeah, it's work,
Yeah.
school, it's
Boots on the
social,
ground, yeah.
active, and then it's kind of safety, support,
Yeah.
information, that sort of thing. So, but yes, we'll see a lot of trends, to your point of hey, we're implementing a new program around mental health and autism and that sort
Right.
of thing. And so we're always on the lookout to who's doing that in an effective way or an innovative way.
Now, let me ask, are you just a statewide organization, or do you have a national or even an international reach at this point?
So we're primarily in the Northeast. We're New England, New York, New Jersey, but Florida, and yes, now we're national. When we have some partnerships that bring us to do work nationally, whether they're funders or whether they're just agencies that we partner with. So yes, we do a lot of work nationally now in ways we hadn't in the past. But still, our footprint, our real core base of services is New
Which
England.
makes sense.
So
'cause this
grandma or
is-
grandpa live in North Andover, let's say,
Yes.
but they have a grandchild in Minnesota
Yeah.
with autism. Grandma and grandpa can reach out to you here to try to get some sort of assistance on who do I contact
that's the
there.
thing. We know everybody. I mean, again, we just from doing this work authentically for 26 years, we know everyone in New England, and then because of that, we know people all over the country.
That's great.
Because we're all fighting the same fight.
Right, exactly. Now,
So-
Samantha, let me ask you. You're very brave for being on camera.
Thank you.
My daughter, who's almost going to be 22 and does communications,
interest.
has absolutely no interest in being in front of a camera.
A little bit of a Def Leppard joke. I never get stage fright.
Good
Oh,
for
Okay,
you.
'cause that's a
Nice.
Def Leppard
Nice.
song. That's a
Yes.
Def Leppard song
Good
too.
for
It's called
you.
Stage Fright.
Good for you.
That's one great way of doing it. Why did you decide to get involved and become a star ambassador?
Because actually my teacher got me in, one of my old teachers got me into this. And she was telling Mom about the Flutie Foundation and how they help with autism and all that kind of stuff. And she was telling my mother about certain things that happen with because I wanted to be part of a singing group.
Okay.
So but what happened was one of my old teachers got me into the Flutie Foundation, and then one of her friends got me into the Spectrum of Sound.
And which goes to show how important our teachers are.
Connections.
Yeah.
Yeah, we work a lot with schools, and so that's how it came to be. I think we called, was it Mandy or was it Kristen?
Mandy.
Mandy, yeah. Mandy knew about what we were doing with music and called over and said, hey, I have a great young woman for you to meet. And the rest is history. We've had a lot of cool gigs, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely.
How long have you been a star ambassador, Samantha?
Ever since, I think this was actually after COVID. So, about
2021, I believe, if
Yeah.
I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
so a
March.
decent amount of time.
I think that was the first gig you did with us in Beverly at Jersey Mike's. Is that the first time or were you on our Facebook
Jersey
Live show?
Mike's in Beverly. I remember performing a song that we had come up with for on our very own. Me and my class had come up with a song, and then I sang Uptown Funk, and it was really, and that was basically my first gig at with the Flutie Foundation and with the Spectrum of Sound and all that kind of stuff.
Have you ever reached out to Def Leppard for this young lady?
I mean, we're going to. We haven't yet, but it's
do it,
going
have
to.
to do
It's
it.
going to happen. It is.
So.
We were just talking
No
about
pressure, right?
Well, we were talking about before the show. The only
Yeah.
unfortunate thing is that Def Leppard, those guys live overseas, right?
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
not like, so they're
Yeah.
maybe here on tours, and I don't know how much
Yeah.
they tour
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. And honestly, that would be so amazing if I could actually meet Joe Elliott, because honestly, I would be so excited, honestly.
I bet
Okay,
you
so for
would,
anybody
clearly.
out there who's watching this
Yes,
program,
please.
Yeah.
who knows how to get in touch with these people, please share
Please
this
do.
episode, because this young lady, Gen
She's a
X,
fan. She's a
I swear
fan.
to God, she was born Gen X.
Yeah,
She
an
just-
old soul, really meant to be a Gen Xer. like us.
Exactly, exactly.
So that brings me to a question, actually for both of you, kind of a two-part. When we're talking about COVID, I'll ask you, Nick, first. How did the Flutie Foundation pivot during the pandemic? And what were some of the, because obviously people really struggled. Students did, people with autism, across the board people struggled. How did you pivot, and what were some of the good findings out of that, the good changes, and also some of the challenges that you may still deal with? And also for you, Samantha, what was that like? So I'll have you answer after Nick, but
Okay.
Yeah,
You
sure.
go
So, I
ahead.
mean, we pivoted right away. We started what we called like an autism relief fund, basically, because
Right.
again, this was just sort of, it was very disruptive to
Yes,
the autism community.
yes.
Routines, right? As
Yeah.
we know, a lot of people with autism, not, it's a spectrum, but
right.
a lot,
But the
or-
routines are critical.
Yeah,
yes.
routines are critical, and
Yeah.
so for that to just be disrupted, so we gave financial support to families in need. We funded organizations who were like transitioning to Zoom related events
Yep.
and that sort of thing. But one thing we also did was we were sourcing masks, we were sourcing face shields, like just doing whatever.
Yes.
we-
Yep.
Actually, what's the name of this guy right here down the street in North Andover? John Ness is his name. I just can't think of the name of his company. He did all these face shields that we distributed all over the the Commonwealth, basically. We just jumped into action. That's what we did. And then how our music program started was we launched this Facebook Live series, which was just simply to engage the autism
Yep,
community.
yep.
And we always had like half the show was around like critical information, like here's how you access funding and resources related to COVID. And then at the end, we'd always have a musician or an artist or somebody on. And that's what our music vertical grew from there. So we really just jumped into action. That's kind of how we
Which is,
pivoted.
I think,
Right.
pretty much how
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah,
had it, because this came out of nowhere.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And for you, Samantha, what was that like? How did you get through that? Obviously, eventually you connected with the Flutie Foundation, but what were
Yes.
some of your lessons? from
Yes,
that?
so basically, I was in school at the time, so I was doing remote learning. So I wasn't really a big fan of it. I really
Understandable.
I would have much rather wanted to be in person in school, even if I had to wear a mask. It didn't matter to me whether or not that was available or not. It just mattered that I was in person, because I'm an in-person kind of person. I'm not one of those people that would want to be online with someone if it's not really absolutely necessary.
But you got through it.
I like that line. I'm
Yeah.
an in-person kind of
in
person.
I like that too.
Hey, you know what? I know a lot of people who their biggest issue was they felt removed from their normal life.
Yeah.
And that unfortunately created a lot of depression and anxiety
Yeah.
for people,
Yeah.
regardless of what your stage of life
Yep.
was.
Yeah, it was really, the social
tough.
connection piece was
It was
missing. Though
tough.
we have one friend of ours who has autism who we were kind of asking her, she was on our show or whatever, and we were like, hey, how has this isolation been for you? And again, this isn't the common response, but it was a good one. She was like, it's great. She's like, I don't have to talk to people, because so some people with autism have challenges.
It was a great time to be an introvert. if
She's an introvert. She's like, it's awesome. We found that kind of funny.
Now,
Yeah.
what a lot of, and especially employers, especially in the legal profession,
Yes.
I'm a lawyer in real life, they've taken what they learned about what you can do remotely and expand on that. What lessons from COVID and what you've had to put together are you still doing
Yeah.
and that you've maybe
Yeah.
expanded on to make it more inclusive for people?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, obviously the obvious answers or whatever is, it's like Zoom, we were using Zoom a little bit before COVID or whatever, but then obviously, just the ability to connect with people I think what COVID did was it lessened sort of geographic borders, right? So
Yes.
it's like
That's
we now
true.
have people who are part of our Stars of the Spectrum program, young adults with autism, from all over the country, because we connected with them on Zoom to
Yep.
start in ways that we never had COVID not rolled through.
Right.
And,
Right,
you know,
right.
been terrible for everyone, but we wouldn't have met all these people from all over the country. So I think it enabled us to connect with other like-minded people, people with autism, their families, and just kind of shrunk the world a little bit in a positive way. Obviously, there were a lot of negatives as well.
Yeah.
Most
Yeah,
definitely,
Yeah.
but I can understand what you're saying from that. I mean, I have family in Australia. No, I'm not Australian, but I have, and if I were to explain to you how that happened,
a long story.
You'd get a headache.
Crazy stuff.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And, you know, for my family, we've been using Facebook for years to be able to be, you know, connected. But I saw how using that more and more through, especially Zoom,
Yeah.
really, you know,
helped people get through
Yeah.
a lot of what
it was a way to connect with each other, even though we couldn't be in the same room.
Exactly.
So I think in that respect, it was positive to what you're both saying.
And it was, you know, especially the Facebook or the
Yep.
Zoom,
Yep.
you know, would help people like Samantha, who's a person.
In
at
person,
lea-
person,
yes,
person.
so,
Yes.
So she would at least be able to have, as much as humanly possible, a face-to-face
Yeah.
conversation with somebody,
Yeah.
even though they might have been in New Jersey or New York or
Right.
wherever. Are there any big programs coming up for, you know, the Flutie Foundation? I mean, I know we're headed into Christmas and Hanukkah, and then,
And
you
then
know.
New Year.
Yeah. So we're jam-packed, busy all the time. What I would say is the next thing that people can sort of join in on is our event, the Flutie Foundation Holiday Spectacular. It's a live stream. It's sort of our year-end celebration where we announce all our community impact grantees it's our last grant cycle of the year. There'll be some song performances, maybe some special celebrity guests, though I don't know that we have Joe Elliott. But
Well,
we
plus,
will.
we don't want that
Yeah.
virtually.
Yeah.
This young lady needs a picture in
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
a signature,
Face to
maybe a
face,
hug.
in-person
Yeah.
person
Exactly.
meeting.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's happening. I don't know when this airs, but that's happening December 17th.
Okay.
So people can stay tuned.
good
to
to
that.
know.
Usually we roll out the episode within the week. So
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool,
Yeah.
great. So that's happening, and then we have a big year ahead next year. We're jam packed with all sorts of different activities.
now, if somebody wants to volunteer, what type of volunteer opportunities do you offer? Maybe for a college kid who wants to intern, or a high school kid who wants to intern.
Yeah, we have all sorts of opportunities. So, I mean, the best thing to do, obviously, is just go on our website and contact us, flutiefoundation.org. But we have events throughout the course of the year where people, so many different events happening throughout Massachusetts and beyond, where we certainly need volunteers, whether it's our own event like the Flutie 5K series, where we have a bunch of different road races. We have our musical stuff, but we also have all these what we call third-party events, where other organizations we collaborate with, you know, put on events for us. So we're always looking for event-based volunteers. But then in terms of internships, certainly, especially for people with autism, if through our STARS program, we love to help people grow towards their career and life passions and goals. So we work with people with autism who are interested in becoming voiceover actors, certainly music. We have a big running program, adaptive running. We're the official presenting sponsor of the Boston Marathon's adaptive program for runners. So we'll have 17 people with autism and other disabilities from all over the country running the Boston Marathon this year. But so if you're a young adult with autism and you want to just help grow towards your passions or goals, please reach out to us.
That in
great.
itself
So
is
many
fantastic,
opportunities.
because there are so many people with all different types of disabilities, young adults specifically, who, you know, we always remember the neurotypical kids to help them get into college and to provide them the assistance that they need to find jobs and independent living, and to be able to provide that service for people who are on the spectrum. I think that in and of itself
Yeah,
is
huge.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's sort of like a fellowship. Like we have under our STARS umbrella is like what we call Flutie Fellowship, where we just, we come in and you come in and we just talk. We're kind of casual, but like, you know,
Yeah.
what are your goals this year? What are you trying to do, and how can we help you get there? Whether it's helping
That's
grow your
right.
personal brand, introduce you to people, your personal brand, excuse me,
Yep.
introduce you to people in your field of interest, whatever it looks like. We're a say yes organization, for better or worse.
Now, I don't know if you can speak on behalf of Doug and his wife, Laura.
Lori.
Lori. You know, but how are they, I mean, this is almost 30 years old. How are they feeling about what they've put together? And you know, I mean, you've got to have some sense of pride. Where are they in that
Yeah,
feeling?
they're. It's funny because they always said that they didn't think this would ever be a big thing. They wanted to help. Doug was playing with the Buffalo Bills at the time, and he got a signing bonus. I don't know what it was. You know, it was like, let's call it $25,000, $35,000, whatever it was, which is good
Money,
money.
you know, at the time.
I
Yeah,
love it, but
right, yeah.
but in the grand scheme of things, it's
Yeah.
it's to start a business.
Yeah.
And so that's what they took, and they put in the foundation, and they kind of just thought, okay, at the end of the year, every year we'll sit around our kitchen table and we'll write some checks to organizations. Then it just, over 26 years, it's grown. I don't know if you guys remember the cereal Flutie Flakes.
Yes. Oh,
yes.
That's what started it. It was like they started it, and then Doug signed this deal where he had this cereal, and then it raised like $1 million like right off the bat. And so then it became a real thing. But anyway, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
it's impressive.
this is my long-winded way of getting to they're very proud, and Doug often sort of says, like, you know, this is his kind of second career, and
Right.
he's going to end up. He always just thought his legacy was as a great football player,
Yes.
but it's in hindsight, or with the whatever the expression is. He's like, I'll probably have more of an impact in the autism community
Right.
than in the football field.
You know
amazing.
what? There's
nothing
no,
wrong with that.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's
very
Exactly.
Yeah, they're happy, they're
So,
proud.
yeah.
Yeah.
And-
What they did unintentionally, I think, was they
Yeah.
tapped that
A
there were
very
other
need.
people, that there were other people. Like you said, back then it wasn't really discussed, and suddenly, you know, not so suddenly, but over the years, it has had that impact. And
Yeah.
clearly other people are being helped by this. So that's an
Yeah,
amazing
and
legacy.
and like Lori, every time, you know, they live in Florida now, but they come up for a lot of our events and everything. And Lori's always talking about Samantha and all the singers and how she's just like, she sees Dougie. So their son Dougie is profoundly impacted by autism, nonverbal, but happy, healthy. But you were talking
that's
before.
most important.
Yeah. But you know, she kind of sees Samantha and all Samantha's peers as kind of the voice of the foundation. The foundation is Dougie's voice. He doesn't have a literal voice, but you
Right.
know, they look at this foundation as his legacy, his
Yeah.
impact, and she loves hearing Samantha sing, and yeah,
That
they're
is
happy.
absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, you guys give out some great swag.
Yeah.
You have those seatbelt covers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then the stickers that you have. What was that about?
So safety is a priority of ours as a whole, right? And so we have partnered with police departments around New England for many years now, in a myriad of different ways. And you know, we do an annual convening of all different police departments from all over Massachusetts and
Yes.
beyond. So we've just had this partnership with police, and we want to make sure that people with autism and their families have every access to sort of safety that they possibly can. And so some of that stuff we've developed in partnership with police departments. It's the one you referenced was a seatbelt cover,
Yes.
so that heaven forbid there's ever an incident, an accident, somebody with autism is in the car, a police officer would know, like, oh, okay, this person has autism. That's why they're not responding to me,
Right,
you know,
right.
in a
Or
typical
maybe-
car.
Behaving in a certain
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, exactly.
To know to bring the
Yeah.
force levels down.
Yeah, things like that. And so, you know, police are, we love the efforts that police departments are taking around the country, really, to understand autism. There's some legislation that has been passed or is in process, kind of mandating police training and that sort of thing. And police want it. It's just a matter of the accessibility of the funding.
I
Right,
think
right.
North Andover, we've spoken to North Andover, and they're very involved
Yeah.
in making
Yeah.
sure
Yeah.
that
They've been
they
great.
get that training, because I'm sure the one thing an officer doesn't want to happen is they find out that they've used too much force because they were unaware.
Yeah.
And then,
Right.
you know, it's harmed the person with autism, it's harmed the family because they now have to deal with the fallout from that, and it's harmed the officer.
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah,
one,
it's
they-
traumatic for them.
Yeah,
as
yeah, and they're
well.
very
We wanna
well
avoid
intentioned, but they
that,
just
yeah.
might not have the so it's been mandated that that cadets, for lack of a better description,
Yes.
they always go through the training now. That's a law, but there's still a whole host of people who've been on the force
Who haven't,
you know,
yeah.
who weren't around when there was training in the cadet, within the, you know, when they
Yes,
were
Right,
coming
when
off.
they were.
when they went through the academy.
The academy, that's the
Yes.
word I'm looking for. Thank you.
Original training.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, but there's also this blue envelope bill, which is more for young adults with autism who drive. And so it's I think I don't know where it sits in legislation, but essentially there's a blue envelope you can pull out. So again, you can dictate to a police officer, hey, I have autism,
Right.
basically.
And they do the same sort of thing for somebody who might be deaf or partially
Right.
deaf who can still
Right.
drive.
Yeah.
That they have something that they
They
can
can hand.
hand, you know, so that whoever the officer is or
They'll be
first
sensitive
responder.
to it.
Not
you
even
know, and
that, they're
understand.
more able to communicate
Yeah.
effectively.
Yeah.
They, is that a state thing or a federal thing that?
So it's a state bill based on things based on a bill based on something that's happened in other states.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's not a federal thing, but I think Connecticut passed the blue envelope bill. Shame on me, I should know if it's where it sits in the legislative process,
Well,
but I think it's in a positive.
They start a new
Yeah.
session every other year or so. But, you know, we have some connections. We talk to our state legislators on almost a regular basis. So,
Great.
you know, we can
Definitely
find out
discuss
more
it.
information
Yeah.
and see what's going on with that, because I think that's something that
I think it's critical.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
most definitely, most
So-
definitely. Well, I'd like to thank you both for coming here. You know, you're local.
We'd like to thank you for having us.
Thank
Yes,
you.
We
well, yes.
appreciate
Where are
it.
you from? Do you-
I am from Peabody, Mass.
Okay,
Okay,
so
not
you're
too far,
relative-
not too far at
relatively
all.
local as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I love doing this in my hometown too, North Andover.
Exactly.
It's
That's why I'm
great.
like, you're local.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So maybe we need to partner a little bit more here in North Andover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'd love to. It'd be great.
To make things happen, because it's important. It's important in other communities too. But if we've got the resources right here, why not use them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
share the info.
Exactly.
As we're doing
Yeah.
it.
Exactly.
So thank you both so
Yes,
much.
thank you. We really do appreciate
Yeah, you're very
having you
welcome.
here.
Anytime.
Thank you. You can reach the Doug Flutie Jr. Foundation for Autism at flutiefoundation.org/contact-us.
Thank you to our crew this month, GLTS alum John Kafori, Northern Essex Community College, Cassie Buwanano.
We quickly are heading towards our 50th episode.
Really great.
Yeah. December, our guest will be Abilities Dance Boston.
Yep.
In January, we're talking to Town Emergency Management Officer, among other titles he holds. He got a bunch. Jeff Coco. And our long-awaited 50th anniversary episode in February will be our annual February guest, State Senator Bruce Tarr. And we're also working with State Auditor Diana DiZoglio for an episode this spring. We just need to finalize
Right.
that date.
She's busy.
She's busy. We continue to look for guests and are currently looking to book our March through June episodes. That being said, we're constantly looking for new topics to explore here at Ability Assistance. We would truly love to know what topics you want more information about. If there are any specific topics that you would like to learn more about, please email me directly at pjones@northandoverma.gov or call me directly at 978-494-0136. In addition to watching through your cable station, you can catch all of our programs on demand. So we got YouTube, we got the Cablecast app through Roku and Apple TV. You can also find the app of the Cablecast app through your phone or tablet's app stores. We got the North Andover Town's website. We've got the Commission's Facebook page, North Andover CAM website, and the podcast is always rolled out at Podbean.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere. From all of us at Ability Assistance, and for all of you who celebrate Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving, and thank you for joining us this month.